It's on August 30th, 2022. An old man of 91 years old passed away at Moscow. He finished his journey of this life. Even at his funeral, and there were different voices about what he had done. For sure, he was a terminator and terminated the Soviets formed in Europe after the First World War, and also terminated the global bipolar system after the Second World War. Yet promoted the reunification of Germany. And he terminated the Soviet Union as a formidable opponent that hassled America all the time. And almost terminate the glorious dream that a Russian empire has pursued for many years. About his death, Western world expressed their mourning and regarding him as an outstanding reformer who made some progresses to the world in democracy and freedom. And in Russia, many people believed he was a loser in politics and a sinner to Russians. And due to his naivety and gullibility, that the strong country that collapsed and crumbled. And in China, he was a good lesson. That's a post of warning sign for possible future blunders. This man was Gorbachev. In March 1931, Gorbachev was born in a farmer's family, and his mother was a Ukrainian. In college, he majored in law, and he also earned a master's degree in agriculture by his own self-improvement. His excellency in work had been recognized by the authorities and made his promotion in career when he was young. From 1982 to 1985, and the three leaders of the Soviet Union, like Brezhnev, Andropov, and Chernenko, died at their incumbency. And it was political inflexibility and stagnation economy that also balked in the war in Afghanistan. So some changes needed to be made for the Soviet Union. That's in 1985, Gorbachev became the leader of the Soviet Union at the age of 54. And that's a young, energetic, and confident. Soon after, his new book, The Reform and New Thinking, was published. And Gorbachev emphasized in his book that the interests of the humankind that are above all, and socialism needs more humanitarianism and democracy. With a system of the multi-parties and the presidency, the authority of the Soviet Union Communist Party had been cast in doubt and weakness. The reform in economy failed, and nothing improved for people's welfare, and even daily bread became an issue, which resulted in disappointment and complaints in the Republic. And also the peoples in the Union Republics tried to be independent. It was said that the Deng Xiaoping that once criticized Gorbachev's policy of being unwise, for it was a high risk for political reform taken prior to the economy reform. Initially, Gorbachev planned to do some modifications and updates to the Soviet, yet unexpectedly he himself destroyed and crumbled the empire. Due to his failure in the reform, he lost his own power and lost this country. It's hard to know if he could see this outcome earlier. That's whether he would keep on doing or just change his mind. The August 19th incident in 1991 was the last trying to save the Soviet Union, and its being foiled speed up the process of its dismantle. The 15 Union republics declared independence, and the country of the Soviet Empire, who once dominated in Europe and Asia, broke down like the Berlin Wall in Germany. The Soviet Communist Party was announced illegal, and the 20 million party members surprisingly did nothing for further protest. It was said that what Gorbachev concerned most was how much he could get for his pension. After he retired, his income was indeed limited. In 1994, his monthly pension was 4,000 ruble. Yet due to inflation and ruble devaluation, the 4,000 ruble at that time just equaled to $2. And luckily, he had a big heart. He persuaded himself to take some advertisement for Pizza Hut and LV bag, and also played some roles in the movies and the TV series. Certainly some money earned, and someone compared him to US President Ronald Reagan, who from an actor to be the president, yet Gorbachev from the president to be an actor. Nevertheless, he helped himself with his own working without taking any bribes or dirty money, and much better than some corrupt high officials in China in comparison. After the demise of the Soviet, and Russia witnessed the time of Boris Yeltsin. The promised economic assistance from the West didn't show up, and Russia's shock treatment really stalled and plummeted the economy. And the state's assets were taken by private illegally, and most people plunged into poverty. Russia was no more a big power, and nothing else Yeltsin could do. So he turned the mess to the successor, Putin. After power transition in 2000, Putin strengthened his domestic control with iron wrist, adjusted the policy in diplomacy and in economy, gradually restored the big power status of Russia. Without the argument about ideology, that Putin had a period of honeymoon period, and the West even discussed to joining in NATO and European Union and for further integration. Yet the traditional geopolitics and the fear of Russia's military prowess and frustrated the West, unwilling to see a big Russia come back again. The wishes of Russia's joining in the West became something impossible. So the mutual biases and estrangements increased, especially after the Crimean crisis in 2014 and the Russia-Ukraine clash in 2022. The confrontations between Russia and the West then actually arrived. The breakup of the Soviet is a historical event, and it was like the ride of the color roller coaster, dramatically dazzled the world and above everybody's expectation. First, America was greatly pleased by this great news, just like a suddenly blessing gift from heaven. It's a long-time tough competitor and challenger gone with the wind. The current U.S. President, the Bush Sr., and said that without the danger of the Soviet Union, so he just could have a good sleep at night. Yet America was overjoyed by the triumph in the Cold War, so believing it was the end of history, and America was omnipotent and super powerful. It could do whatever to its like, including global expansion without limit. So since the Soviet disappeared, America turned focus to China for more troubles, such as the Galaxy oil tanks incident in 1993, the Taiwan Strait crisis in 1996, and the shelling bombardment to China's embassy in Serbia in 1999. And America bullied arrogantly that the now and then, and China had to bear the shame again and again. Yet America suffered from its unscrupulousness and overexpansion. In 2001, it came the terrorism attack of 9/11, and then dragged into the long wars of Afghanistan, Iraq, and clashes in Libya and Syria. There was a looming of the financial crisis in 2008, which witnessed the American decline from East Germany. Meanwhile, China succeeded in overtaking and rising as a big power. And just like the saying, good fortune will knock the door of everybody. The collapse of the Soviet Union had vital impacts to China. Negatively, the dismantle of the East European Socialist bloc, and the falling of the Soviet red flag, and the Tiananmen Square June 1st incident, and made China passive and adverse in the ideology struggle between the East and the West. China had to hold its standing post and hide its light and waiting for its time later. While in prevention of the Western infiltration, China kept on and its reform and opening, and characterized with the Chinese style of a socialist market economy, and overtook Japan as the second largest economy in the world. And reality tells us the same or difference in ideology doesn't change the nature of struggle for national interests. And the success of a Chinese way broke the myth of panacea with Western democracy. From geopolitics, the collapse of the Soviet Union benefited China and its strategic interests in general. At least, much relieved military pressure from the North. In history, Russia took over large areas from China, and the Soviets had long been China's big brother and also deployed millions of troops along the borders with China. And now the new independent Russia was far from the former Soviet Union, whether in territory and politics, economy, and military. China and Russia are equal partnership in strategic cooperation. And in many fields, China took the upper hands. The new triangle relations among China, America, and Russia, and their strategies and power balance are very subtle. America hopes to pin down Russia in Europe by providing assistance to Ukraine, and their entanglements enable China to have more development space and opportunities in Russia and other areas. Like the saying, the struggle between the two always benefits the third party. At the same time, America never gave up its effort in the containment policy at China's Taiwan issue. So it is also crucial for Taiwan issues and settled properly. Besides, we can imagine that if China and Russia they work together in dealing with America, then Washington will find it's a tough issue. The former 15 Union republics that had become the 15 independent countries with sovereignty, and surely followed with new confrontations and clashes. The breakup of the Soviet worked as a shot for stimulus or for hallucination for all the China haters. They eagerly to look forward to see the breakup of China, like what happened to the Soviet Union, and like the status of China's Asian warring states. Therefore, we can always see the troubles they made in issues of Xinjiang, Tibet, Mongolia, and Hong Kong and Taiwan. And their supporters, Europe, America, and Japan, are unwilling to see the rise of China as a big power. Another issue is we see the dismantle of the Soviet. And is there any possibility that one day the United States of America will break up into 50 independent countries, or an America of Republicans, or America of Democrats? There's America of coast areas, or an America of inland area. In history, America had a civil war, and even now in California and Texas, some voices for independence also can be heard. If one day America collapses, and its impact to the world will be much greater than the collapse of the Soviet Union. Gorbachev is gone and away with some memories to that age, yet with some legacies left to us. At the end of the old time is the beginning of a new one. So the leaders of the new age should learn from the history. For the past is the teacher of today. The history can tell us about the future. That anything above your imagination may happen. The interests are eternal and the world always changes. This is all for today's program, and thank you for watching and see you next time. Thank you.